So a couple of days ago, somebody came out and said that She-Hulk episode 3 was going to have a post-credit that was going to break the internet. Now, my assumption is it was going to be something leading up to future Marvel stuff, but spoiler alert, Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk are twerking. Now, I'll get into some of the tweets right now, but the top footage you see right here, that's of course the scene. So, yeah, spoiler. Before we get into this conversation, this is going to be a very touchy subject. I've seen some accusations that are incredibly dangerous. I've seen some people even labeling people who don't like the scene. Like, there's two levels. Like, there's some people saying that this scene is pedophilic and it's trying to harm young girls. I've also seen other people actually send death threats to people and actually saying that they're incels just because they didn't like the show. So I'm going to talk about both sides because I know a lot of people on YouTube usually will watch like 2 minutes of a video and then assume that's the entirety, or they'll just see a thumbnail and title and then be like, oh, woke, virtue signaling, or oh, sexist, incel, oh, crying man, baby. But let's break it down. A lot of people are seeing this as a black and white issue. Let's talk about it. But before we get into that, I want to clarify. I'm a big Marvel fan. I've liked the Phase 4 of the MCU. I've not liked a couple of things. I think a lot of the Disney Plus shows are very flawed, weak. I was disappointed by Moon Knight. With the What If series was a big disappointment. Thor: Love and Thunder was even a disappointment. Again, this is my own subjective take. But She-Hulk so far, I've not really liked She-Hulk. I thought the first two episodes were weak. They were a little boring. I didn't think they delivered on what I thought we were going to get. I'll say episode 3 was an improvement from the first two episodes, but it's definitely not must-watch TV. Right now, there's House of Dragon and Rings of Power. I'm going to be far more looking forward to those than I am for She-Hulk. So I want to clarify, I'm not the biggest fan. Now, the post-credit, I didn't really care. I was like, all right, I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh at all, but I was like, all right. Now, I didn't expect to see the reaction I saw online. I was genuinely surprised by people's take. So first I made this tweet. And it said, imagine being mad at a green CGI character twerking in a franchise that is shown as Thor's ass, Thanos' head getting chopped off, and even the sex in Eternals. And god dang, a lot of people are mad at me. So I'll respond to those comments. But first, I'll say this, and I want to clarify this. So my homie philosophical pickle, I don't agree with him on a lot of things. But that's just society. I hate when the problem with social media is it's made a lot of people sensitive, and a lot of virtue signaling teenagers that pretend to care about actual social issues are now starting to attack people just because they have a different perspective in life. And instead of having a conversation with them, a lot of them want their accounts deleted. A lot of them actually want them dead. And that's the thing that pisses me off. A lot of you virtue signaling teenagers don't truly care about actual people getting harmed. There are literal genocides happening, murders, rapes, everything. There's actual children being harmed, but a lot of you guys pretend to care. So instead you start arguing on Twitter because you think that's the righteous thing. And so I've seen a lot of people harass people who've just said, because I actually saw a lot of Pickle's old tweets, or not old tweets. I'm making it sound like this was years ago. But no, I saw some of his tweets criticizing it, and all he really said was that he didn't really like it. But here's the tweet he put. He says, this is the single most disgusting thing I've ever seen in the MCU. This once great universe has been reduced to regurgitating memes and vomit TikTok culture. I'm not sure if I'll even watch the show for Daredevil now. Now, this, I will say, is a good criticism, because he's not criticizing, because I've seen some people make false pedophilia accusations. And by the way, anytime you make false pedophilia accusations, or if you're talking about pedophilia, to me, that's a very touchy subject, because that is literal the harming of children and the traumatization of children. So I've seen some people use that. I'll talk about that in a little more. But this right here, this is how you criticize the thing. You criticize it based on the thing it is. I myself didn't really mind the post-credit, but that doesn't mean everyone is. You're not a sexist or incel if you don't like the scene. Again, it's all subjective. People need to start understanding that things are subjective. Not everyone's going to agree on the same thing, especially when it comes to movies and televisions and art and all forms, music. I mean, again, an example of this is go ask right now 5 complete strangers, or not even 5 complete strangers, 5 of your friends, and ask them, what's your favorite movie? I can guarantee each and every one of them is going to have a different answer. So everyone's more than welcome to not like it. So this is right here an example of a good argument, because let's not deny it. One thing I've not liked that Marvel has been doing a lot more recently is they keep talking more about modern pop culture references, and I just think that I'm fine with 1 or 2 pop culture references. I just feel like it's going to age out poorly the more and more you go into it. And I'm not gonna lie, there's been jokes I don't like. Like, I didn't like in Endgame when Hulk dabbed. I didn't like when he said "bruh" in the first episode of She-Hulk. That's the case. And again, this is coming from somebody who isn't a fan that much of the show. And then let's also respond to this. I see some people using the dancing as examples. I don't think that's fair because Zemo and Star Lord aren't really doing that big of a dance, so I don't even think that's a fair comparison. Uh, but let's now again. I've seen people actually call others incels, sexist, all this woman hating just because they don't like this scene. So I want to clarify that before we go on to, because I can already see people saying, "Oh, you're virtue signaling. Oh, you're woke." No, no. Here's my test. I saw. I'm not gonna pull up the tweet because it is from a friend of mine on YouTube. But the tweet was, it's not this tweet, by the way, but the tweet was insinuating that it was a dangerous, harmful thing to children. That's where I cross the line. Anytime somebody starts trying to talk about these actual dangerous topics, that is where you are crossing the line. That's when you're going into dangerous territory. So I put my tweet. I said, imagine being mad at green CGI character twerking in a franchise that's shown as Thor's ass, Thanos' head getting chopped off, and even the sex in Eternals. Now, I'm going to say this. Children shouldn't be learning about twerking. Or any kind of sexual dance. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying they should. It is a inappropriate thing. It is. Uh, but I saw a lot of tweets saying that Marvel's promoting it, Marvel's showing it off. My problem with that exact comment, and I've seen this by a lot of tweets, but one really hit me, and that was from one person I'm friends with. I'm not going to pull up his tweet because I don't want anyone going around harassing him or anything like that, but you know who you are. The problem with that is that's not the case. Whether we want to deny it or not, TikTok culture has dominated the sphere for 2 years, I think it is. And even before that, twerking was always a popular thing. I'll use this as an example. When I was 12 years old, that Party Rock song came out. And there was like a dance where you would like push your crotch up forward. Yeah, I can search it up. And I remember I did that a lot. Was that right of me? No. But we also have to remind ourselves that it's not like this scene was teaching younger people what twerking is. It wasn't like it was doing anything. It was just a woman just twerking. Now, if this was like on a strip club or if this was a prostitute, something like that, then yeah, that's where we go on a different territory. But my problem with a lot of this is nobody said anything about Thor's ass being shown in Love and Thunder. And not only that, but in that exact same scene, they've referenced orgies 5 times. In Eternals, we had a sex scene, and it was clear they were both completely nude. Sure, it was a brief sex scene, but it still is there. Iron Man 1 showed a woman only wearing a shirt, no pants, no shorts, just a shirt. I mean, yeah, it was covering her areas, but still, the assumption was that they had just had intercourse. We saw Thanos' head getting decapitated. We've seen a lot worse in the MCU. Not only that, but remember, in Endgame, what was the running joke? Or it wasn't a running joke, but it was a joke for a short minute. Was Captain America's ass. And not only that, but 2 times they even zoom in on it. Not only that, but even at the beginning of this series, of She-Hulk series, they keep referencing Captain America's ass. And let's also remember, we also saw Hulk's ass. Nobody ever said a thing about that. And I would, like, if you're going to say this specific thing is harming children, then let's talk about the other things. I always see people trying to pick and choose what is bad and what is good. And let's say you say all of that's bad. That's fine. As a parent, you have every right to choose what your kids watch. But at the same time, you also have to be more consistent about it. Why is it when a guy's butt is shown on camera is right? And by the way, I'm somebody who's very big on being against how men are objectified in Hollywood. Or in real life, like you're seeing a lot of, stop objectifying women, all this and that, and I think that's good. But I also think that we need to start doing that on men too. Like Thor: Love and Thunder was obviously, and Taika Waititi's comments even made me uncomfortable when he said that they have to show Chris Hemsworth's body because with that kind of body it needs to be shown and all that, and that made me uncomfortable. And you can go search it up right now. Search up Taika Waititi talking about Chris Hemsworth on why he's nude in a scene in Thor: Love and Thunder. But it's weird. I don't see anyone else talking about those things. And also, not only that, but the scene again. It's a common dance move that's popular. It's just popular. And I don't know what to tell you. It's disappointing. I wish that wasn't the case, but it's just It just is. Not only that, but Disney Plus also has Punisher, Daredevil, both Deadpool movies, Logan, and all that. So I just find it a little hypocritical when I see a lot of people say, "Oh, they're teaching children bad things." Why do you say that right when a woman does something sexual, but when men do it for multiple movies, multiple shows? And I also saw one argument. Let's actually pull up this argument. Was like the biggest argument. So Sheep Talks, I don't know who this is, but they responded to my tweet. Click on it. Okay. Yes, because nobody complained about the objectification in Thor: Love and Thunder. Absolutely. Yeah. No. Nobody complained. And if it's so, there was only like 5 or 6 people that complained about it. No one ever said anything. You didn't see full on. That right now, if you go search up on YouTube, She-Hulk episode 3, you're probably gonna see thousands of videos talking about how they hated the scene and how it was bad for younger girls. Nope. And when you do that for Love and Thunder, you don't see that as much. Maybe to a couple, but almost nobody was complaining about it. Not to the level that She-Hulk had the complaining. And I would say showing bare ass is worse than twerking. You know, I don't even think that's a debate to be had. I think showing your bare ass is, and also not only that, but implying that your thing is out. I think that's even much worse than She-Hulk twerking with a very famous artist, which I'm not a fan of Megan Thee Stallion, but it's a little weird. And then the second paragraph says, not sure why Thanos' head chopped off is being compared to the rest, but I'll say that was was bad from a writing standpoint. I mean, by the way, I don't even care about that, so I don't know. But I mean, Thanos' head literally gets chopped off. A lot of parents don't want their kids watching R-rated movies because a lot of times you see blood, you see gore, you see actual hearts being put out or stomachs being thrown. Also, there's a spider in my current. I'm just seeing that right now, but it's weird. The reason why I brought that up is because you do see a head being chopped off. I would say that's even more gross than twerking. For a lot of kids, that was probably their first time seeing a head being chopped off. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? I was bringing up 2 points, the sexual part and the gore part. And then this third one, this is such a stupid argument, and nobody likes Eternals. So, well, people like Eternals. Don't be stupid. People like Eternals. I liked Eternals. By the way, I'm fine if people don't like it because I'm not somebody who's insecure about my own movie opinions. I'm not insecure about my own opinions. I'll debate them. I'll talk about them, but I'm not about to say, oh, like this guy clearly is a fucking moron. He's clearly stupid. But I mean, that's not an excuse. It's still a movie that showed the sex scene. It's weird. You want to talk about She-Hulk's twerking scene is bad, but you don't want to talk about how Eternal showed you a literal sex scene. Not only that, but so did Iron Man 1. Just because nobody liked it doesn't mean they didn't see it. It's kind of like the Sharknado movie. Sure, people hate them, but they still saw it, meaning they know what's in the movie. Who cares? It's such a stupid. And the second one, well, some people like Eternals, but they're the same people defending the show for the most part. So yeah, still not seeing the point of the argument. What do you mean? The argument isn't whether people like a movie or show. The argument is, why is this scene so unaccepted, but these other scenes, nobody makes a little peep about it? This is honestly stupid arguments. Think before you type. I don't know. Think before you type. It's like if you truly want to talk about the harming of young girls, maybe, and this is the thing, maybe try taking away their phones for a little bit. I'm not saying, I mean, this is a touchy subject because now you're telling people how to parent. That's a difficult thing. I don't know. I'm trying to limit what I say, but I'm not sure why certain scenes that are far worse are never brought up, but then other scenes are. I think this is a form of sexism. Also, here's Hulk's butt. So this is honestly a form of sexism because it's like weird because for decades upon decades, you've had these movies that are more for younger guys, like young boys, that will reference sex as a joke, that will say, oh, guys really want women to have intercourse and all this. You will have all these movies and shows directed to younger boys and never no peep from any adult at all. Maybe there's a couple. Like, I remember my parents were pretty strict about what I watched, and when they would hear like a sex reference in a PG-13 movie, they would tell me immediately not to watch it. Not only that, but let's also remember Black Widow in the Black Widow movies was objectified. There's a lot of butt shots. There was a lot of shots where you could see a little bit of cleavage. I don't see why that's not criticized, but then this is. Like, it's the thing. It's a little hypocritical. You don't actually care about female issues. What you care instead is about sounding virtuous. Virtue signaling isn't just something that the left does. It's also something that the right does. And it's honestly stupid. It's stupid. I get if you don't like the scene, and I get criticizing the scene, like my friend Pickle. Like, that's a fair criticism because he genuinely criticized it. He didn't say it was woke. He didn't say it was virtuous. He just said, hey, the scene wasn't for me. I think it's a stupid scene. And let's not deny it. Right now, Marvel's jokes have been getting worse on their shows. And I think a lot of people have been saying that for a while. I don't think Marvel has downgraded. I think their Disney Plus stuff. WandaVision, I really enjoyed. Miss Marvel, I really enjoyed. The rest, a lot of the other stuff is be mediocre at best, mediocre, and that's not good. Marvel should not strive to be mediocrity, especially when you have movies that cost over 200 million. There's no point, there's no reason why that should be mediocre. But I see a lot of people virtuing saying how it's harming young girls, but it really isn't. And then I had somebody even claim that I don't actually care about young girls. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's just I'm seeing hypocrisy for decades. Like even Spider-Man: No Way Home, a movie that it's a family movie, and yet they have sex references in that movie. They even have a reference where you're hearing, like at the very beginning, you're hearing assumptions of somebody getting humped. That's the point. That's the thing. You see that a lot. You see that a lot with younger boy movies. But the minute when it's a girl, oh, that's when we go all crazy. That's a pretty big double standard right there. And I know some people are going to use the argument, oh, Isaac, you don't have a daughter, you don't know what you're saying. And that's true. I won't lie to you. I don't have kids. Obviously, I don't. I still have a lot to learn in life. I still think there are things I need to learn. Maybe I'll have a different perspective on this in the next couple of years, maybe next decade. But no, I'm just seeing such a big double standard. I'm just seeing, why is it when a guy is sexualized in a movie, very few people say anything. Oh, but when a girl is twerking on a show, and it's not even in the main show, it's literally in the post-credit scene, that's where the problem lies. It's honestly stupid. And then even here, Legion of Geeks, it's a Instagram post saying, Marvel fans made this happen. They refused to stand up. They coped, made excuses, and kept paying for the content in Phase 4. When you don't challenge these companies to say no, as a consumer, this is what you get. Don't let DC be next. Make your voice heard, and please stop supporting the MCU. This is not the universe you remember anymore. It will only get worse. What more do you need before you choose no? This is also a fair argument. This isn't saying, oh, this is rad for girls. It's more him just being like, hey, he's not like the MCU recently. And similar to Pickle's argument, it was just basically not liking the show. I know a lot of people are going to think I'm biased to one side, but I feel like I'm being very fair today. I feel like this is the most fair I've been in a video, because I just see a lot of people. This is my problem with social media. A lot of people think there's only black and white in the world, but there's also gray in the middle that people need to discuss. Legion of Geeks here didn't really say anything bad. Legion of Geeks, like if he had said, oh, this is bad for women, this that's where I would cross the line. But when you're saying it's cringe, I think that's fine. There's a lot of things in the MCU that they've done that's cringe. I still think the dabbing scene in Endgame was cringe. What's another cringe thing? I'm trying to think. Hulk saying bruh. And by the way, I've even made a full-on video criticizing Professor Hulk. I still think Professor Hulk is the biggest disgrace to Hulk fandom. I think the MCU has been going on a downhill spiral when it comes to Hulk's character as a whole. Hopefully they improve. I do believe in redemption. But I don't know. I think this one's bad. So Dane here tweeted. I don't even know if you can see it, but I'll just read it. Dane, who posted this, said, this also seems to be farcical to be real. I don't know what that word means. I think it means too good to be true. I don't know. To be real, but I know it's real. Here's an image from a show. Not going to explain why it's bad or why everyone should share my weird opinion. It's just bad. Stop paying them. Well, I'll say this. Legion of Geeks, there's nothing wrong, he said, with this post, by the way. There's nothing wrong. If you don't like the MCU, then don't support it. Don't go. I mean, I know it's harder said. It's easier said than done. Honestly, obviously, a lot of these people grew up loving Marvel comics, Marvel shows, Marvel movies, and so it's hard to let it go. Same thing with Star Wars fans. The Star Wars fans that don't like the sequels, it's hard for them not to like the sequels. But everyone's welcome to not like them, and that's cool. So I kind of disagree with Dana on this, although I think there's a lot of things we agree on. But no, I'm fine with this. Now, my problem is, A lot of people make it seem like everyone hates Marvel now. That's not the case. Marvel's still the biggest juggernaut in the box office. You know, it's still mainly liked than disliked. I don't know, but I don't know. This one's fine. Wait, Steve Veed says, "Make your voice heard." That's exactly what they all do. It's called harassment. Oh no 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 no! Don't even harassment. This is the guy just saying that he just doesn't like the content. Look, this is my problem. A lot of people virtue signaling. A lot of people don't actually care about these topics, and instead they just want to like bully the crap out of somebody for not agreeing with them. That's my problem. Virtue signaling is such a big problem on social media. Not really in real life, but social media. Yeah. Let's actually see what some of the comments are saying. I've not actually read some of the comments exactly, or the mention of orgies. Yeah, that too. Although I think I brought that up earlier. Lonely Abandoned Beagle says the latter three things at least happen as making sense of the story and challenges the characters went through. She-Hulk twerking literally has no importance to the plot of the show whatsoever. Okay, and it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't happen though. It still happened. Who cares? Not only that, but this is a post-credit. Post-credits are just meant to be little add-ons to the movie or show. There's so many murders and deaths in Marvel movies, and then also a lot of objectifying. Oh wait, hold on. Are you saying that in Thor: Love and Thunder we needed to see Thor's ass? Okay, and it still happened. Who cares? Who cares? I get if you don't like the scene, but to say that this scene's not alright, but this scene's good just because this one didn't mean anything, who cares? It's a post-credit scene. The characters are having fun. Are we not allowed to see characters have fun? 3, it's not that deep. I don't know. I mean, what was the importance of Captain America's butt being shown? Anyways, it's a post-credit scene. Okay, wait, no. So Chad here says, to be fair, the movies with Thor's ass and Eternals were garbage. And again, what's the point of bringing up this argument? I get if we're arguing about whether the movie's good or bad. That would be a fine argument to say you didn't like the movies and you thought they were trash. But when we're talking about the scenes that happen, that's not a fair argument because we're talking about the scenes, regardless of how bad the movie is, that still happened and people still saw it. And not only that, but who said I was saying the Thanos thing was sexual? The reason why I brought that up is that is literal gore. That is showing you somebody's head being decapitated. And you saw their blood splatter. Not only that, but Multiverse of Madness, we saw somebody being burned alive. Not Black. What? I said Black Adam. Black Bolt, literally his head pops. Literally there's blood in his eyes and mouth. Not only that, but Charles Xavier's head gets, I'm not saying they're sexual. I'm just saying, a lot of people want to say this scene is bad for children, but then we got to talk about all these other scenes. It's the thing. You just opened a can of worms. If you're not willing to say those scenes are bad for children, then why are we bringing this one up? Oh, I know, because there's a woman. I'm not saying that's what your genuine belief is, but seeing the patterns, you're making it feel like it's a sexist thing. I'm not sure if you're sexist or not. I don't know you personally, but it comes off as very sexist. Because I guarantee you if it was a guy, actually, no, I would be wrong. I think it's more the twerking thing. But again, I just hate how a lot of people are saying, oh, this is bad for young girls. I don't know. Then we have to open an entire can of worms. Like, is twerking just generally bad for girls? Then we would need to have that conversation. But if you're having that conversation, we also need to talk about these other things. It's maybe stop virtue signaling for this thing. And maybe if you're going to talk about that, also bring those things up. Either all of it's okay or none of it is okay. I don't know. This is the same argument I have with the term cracker. Yeah, I know I said it. So it's a little hypocritical. Like, I see on Twitter, people will like bully white people and be like, oh, cracker this, cracker that, honky this, honky that. You'll hear all these terms and nobody does a single thing. But the minute you call a Mexican guy a beaner or spick, that's when it goes wrong. I still think it's stupid that you can say certain racial slurs, but you can't say, I know it's because in America, white people aren't oppressed. On social media, they kind of are, but I'll bring up that same argument. It's like, if you don't want somebody using racial slurs, then don't call white people cracker. The fact that I'm saying it right now, and none of you are going to get mad, is just an example of this. And I'm not saying you should use all these. I think using any racial slurs is bad, honestly, in general. I just think it's a little weird that when white people are being told racial slurs, It's nothing. And I know it's because white people haven't faced the same oppression here in America. But either way, it's still a racial term. It's still a offensive term. I know a lot of white people don't. Obviously, a lot of white people don't feel offended by those words because it's been normalized to use those terms. But at the end of the day, you understand those are racial slurs. So like, why is it okay if we use all these other terms but not this one? That's another conversation we need to have. The bullying of white people online is normalized, but the minute you bully somebody for being Mexican, Black, Asian, that's when it goes real, real bad. Making fun of white people is normal. And again, I know the historical context, but guess what? We're not living in that time period anymore. We now have to understand. And yeah, I know minorities are still oppressed in this country. Trust me, I know. But no, either way, it doesn't mean you should be able to just bully somebody just for their race. You're opening a can of worms, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to have these conversations. They're just trying to act virtuous. That's the frustrating thing about this whole She-Hulk thing. But now let's talk about this last part. So the homie Bradley here made this entire video. So he made a tweet saying he didn't like the scene, and somebody told him to die, basically. And I tried finding a tweet, but I couldn't find it. Then Austin, this is his boyfriend, and he says 100%. And by the way, both of these were criticizing the Megan Thee Stallion cameo from the moment it was announced. So they're being fair. They're not saying anything bad. They're not saying anything wrong. But here's Austin's comment. He says 100% of you feel our legitimate criticisms are ruining things for you. Maybe you need to look at why you like it in the first place. Okay, this part I don't agree. Who cares? If somebody likes or doesn't like something you like, who cares? Like, this is the one thing I disagree with Austin. It's like, you stop belittling people for liking things that you don't like. And again, I'm fine with if you don't like it. I don't like She-Hulk really. I didn't, or at least the first two episodes I didn't like. I think the third episode was pretty solid, but stop it. Why do people need to belittle others just for liking or not liking a thing? But anyways. Sad that we can't call out the MCU and its pandering flaws without getting grouped in with the rest of it. I'll say this, and I'll say it, and I'll be the one to say it. As somebody who promotes a lot of feminism, I think there's a lot of sexism still in the world. You've heard me say all that before. I do think this show was obviously written by like a 30-year-old white woman. It's obviously written. Look, by the way, I specified white. I say that and nobody cares. But if I was to say Black, Asian, Hispanic, I guarantee you I would have been canceled by now. But no, except the Hispanic part. But no, it feels like a 30-year-old white girl wrote it, or white woman. My bad. A lot of the writing in the show is horrible. A lot of it is bad. I just didn't like the first two episodes, but everyone's more than welcome to like it. I don't know. And it's sad that we can't call out the MCU and its pandering flaws without getting grouped with the rest of idiots who take it too far. That is true. There are some people who are giving genuine criticism, like Pickle, Austin Bradley, and all these people, who are just being grouped in with like this incel community when really that's not the case. And the problem with that is that a lot of these people who care about actual issues with women, a lot of these people pretend to think that they're doing the right thing, doing the righteous thing, but in reality what you're doing is you're now taking it to extreme. Some of these guys are probably going to see all the criticism they've gotten and think, oh, you know what, I might as well side with that side because they feel more welcomed. And that's the stupid thing I hate about social media. Again, a lot of people don't care about these social issues. They more care about getting likes on Twitter. It's the reality. I don't know. And Bradley's video was basically saying that, hey, he didn't like the by the way, I liked your shirt. That he didn't like the episode, he didn't like the twerking thing, and he did get a death threat. I actually did see the death threat myself. Then Axel says, bro, exactly, I was legit attacked for saying it was cringe and people got pissed off. Apparently I hate women in ass, and they say I have a problem with Star-Lord doing it, or I have no problem with Star-Lord doing it. I really do, though. Then I use the slur to get people. Oh, whoa. You use a slur. I would need context on that. What is it that he said? If you are using a slur, that is wrong. Yeah, I mean, he did use the R slur. That is, I'll say this. I'm gonna give him a pass, but you do have to understand that the R that's an offense. Man, now we're derailing this entire conversation. Look, I don't think he's wrong. He doesn't like Marvel fans. He doesn't like. I mean, I don't like some MCU fans too. I won't lie to you, and I'm an MCU fan myself. But he says, I know I made a lot of people angry these last couple of hours, and I understand why. I shouldn't have you said the slur. I only made things worse. You don't have to accept his apology, but just know I did, and I have no excuse for it, and I regret saying it. All right, that's fair. I'll give him promise. Oh, he has 2 quote tweets. Let's see. I apologize for it. Well, you have to understand, because it did happen soon, you're probably not going to get a quick apology, because usually when people make mistakes, usually it takes a while to process. I don't think he should. I think he should have thought. I usually say this, always think before you speak, but I'll give him a pass that it wasn't the heat of the moment. But no, the R slur, and again, I'm not here to pretend to be virtuous, which is a problem, and he has every right to not like it. But yeah, you shouldn't have said the slur. You shouldn't have said it, because it is a slur that a lot of autistic people feel offense towards. But he said, bro, exactly. I was legit attacked for saying it was cringe and people got pissed off. Apparently I hate women and ass, and they say I have no problem with Starler doing it. I really do. Then I use the slur to get people to STFU. I mean, you still could have approached it better, though. You still could have, but no, props to you. I mean, I guess you could also say the Star-Lord dance was inappropriate, because it is him, like, riding his crotch up. So I guess you could also use that argument. So yeah, that's a conversation to also be had. Like, why is Star-Lord's dance fine, but She-Hulk's dance isn't? I don't know. And I would say Star-Lord's dance was more inappropriate, because that is his crotch. That's an actual, genuine. That's probably the most inappropriate parts of a male body. I don't know. There's just a lot of virtue signaling from people who don't actually care about these topics. I don't think Axel should have said the R slur. But either way, I think he's still valid. He's still valid to have that criticism. You shouldn't have said it, but I don't know. I want to explain why the R slur is bad, but I know I'm only going to get a lot of edgy teenagers getting mad at me. I don't know. I thought this was a fair video. I think I was doing well. Again, my overall thoughts is a lot of the people saying that this is bad for women need to actually start thinking about what they genuinely think is bad, because nobody said anything about Thor's ass. No one said anything about Captain America's ass. No one said anything about Hulk's ass. Oh, but She-Hulk twerks. Oh, Thanos' head gets decapitated. Sex scene in Eternals and Iron Man, but no one cares. Not only that, but for decades we've seen these movies that star younger boys, and they'll often bring up sex and all this and that, but no one ever wants to criticize that. Oh, because a girl twerks. That's the thing. And again, I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't like the episode or the scene itself. I'm just saying, if you're going to bring up such serious allegations, because remember, those allegations aren't just nothing burgers. Those are literal children being harmed. For years, children have been harmed, been groomed. There's a lot of children who leave traumatized and probably won't even have kids in the future, because they feel traumatized from their first experience of doing such an inappropriate thing. And you want to bring that up at such an ease, but you don't actually want to bring up the rest of the stuff. No. And yeah, Hollywood has a lot of pedos. Let's not even deny it. I mean, what's that guy from Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider? I don't even know others. I mean, R. Kelly is in Hollywood, but he's a celebrity. So yeah, there's a lot of that. That's sad. But when you bring up the allegation, you do need to have proof on it. That's my frustrating thing. Anyways, that's going to be it for my video. I know it's a long video. I know some of y'all are going to criticize me. I'm fine with that. At the end of the day, I want to have conversations. Again, I don't like the scene. I'm not saying you should like the scene. But if you are going to bring up such serious accusations, then you better be able to back it up. Because you can't just, in this world that we live in, you can't just make an allegation and just get away with it, So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like, even me. If, like, me labeling someone sexist, that's also a serious thing. So I myself should also learn to improve from that. No one's perfect, and everyone should strive to improve on things. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. You are more than welcome to comment in the comment section down below. Smash the like button, do whatever it is you need to do. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notification bells, or whatever it is, let us know in the comment section down below. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.